Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the recap mini-series as we eagerly await the beginning of season 14. My name is Augie. I'm so excited to be able to share with you guys on this platform once again. This week, we're going to look at something that might mess up your compass of justice, and that is when grace feels unfair. We're going to look at that moment where if you've ever felt like it's not entirely just that the criminal on the cross got to enter paradise the same day. It's not exactly just that the late worker to the vineyard got the same amount of money as the person who started early. Or it might not be just that the sibling who keeps messing up gets all of the same love and respect and attention as the one who's been faithful to his parents the whole time. This is something that I think we can all relate to, and when it's important to see, find that heart check. These biblical stories, it can feel, so nice. It can sound like, oh yes, of course, mercy to those who don't deserve it. But I think when a situation really plays out in our lives where a person does something unjust, but we have to look back at what Jesus would do and respond with mercy, becomes a lot more complex and a lot more difficult to really play out. So we're going to start on the cross. 2 thieves, no record of holiness, no record of being a good person, yet complete mercy and complete grace given to this person. And this isn't just a reflection on that specific person inside of the Bible. This is a story that is for all of us. Let's find out how.
Just on the topic of hunger, really what I think Jesus is piercing to the heart of is that he knows we're hungry, and he knows that it's not just a thing of the stomach that, Justine can't eat bread anymore or whatever, that he knows that we have a hunger for something that is not of this world. He made us, God knows us. And the Eucharist is out of this world, literally. It's when we, through faith in the Eucharist, we enter into a new life.
Icon Ministry wants to reach out to the Alpha generation. Introducing MetaSaint, a revolutionary project where the hope and love of Christ meet the metaverse generation. Did you know that the Roblox platform transcends mere gaming? It's a bustling digital universe with over 70 million users a day. This is an incredible opportunity to share the gospel with young people. Do your children or grandchildren play Roblox? Tell them to start playing MetaSaint, where they will have an interactive experience of the gospel like never before. As we pioneer this exciting new frontier of connection and community, we invite you to help us in this groundbreaking mission, our biggest project yet, to ensure the digital spaces can become a place where all can encounter the transformative power of Christ. Together, let's bring the gospel to the metaverse. Visit metasaint.com to learn more.
Found this cool line that is qualitatively different from the world that we live in, because it's not meant to be feeding our temporal things, although it might give us hope and courage and a spirit of endurance to live through or live a great life here on earth. It's actually feeding a deeper hunger that cannot be satiated with things on this earth, that can only be satiated by Jesus. And he's saying, I'm the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will not be hungry.
This next clip is going to look at the story of the vineyard. Did it sting a little bit when you heard that the worker who showed up late got paid the same amount as the worker who started on time in the early morning? If it did sting a little, good. That was kind of the point of Jesus saying it. This scripture passage is meant to have us relook our human nature, to compare and to put our own scales of mercy and justice into certain situations. So let's take a look at this clip of what Fr Rob has to say about it.
So everyone's waiting. Everyone knows that something big is about to happen, and so they go. And finally, the groom arrives. Let's say he arrives at nighttime. There's no oil in, and so what Jesus is saying, that if you all have no oil, then you can't come. You can't make your way. You're useless, basically, to lighting the path. You're just a burden, in a sense. So make sure you're prepared. And so what would happen is they would follow the groom in, and then the door would be open, and they'd be married, and they'd meet each other. But their doors would be open for like 7-10 days, so for people to come in and eat, and they were treated like kings and queens, and it was just this huge party that would happen for weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, how do we relate that to our lives? You know, like what is the significance of us waiting? We're kicked out of our house. We're kicked out of heaven, in a sense. We're born out of our mother's womb. We're here on earth. We're in this place, in the road, in the wilderness, waiting for fulfillment, waiting for heaven. We're on the side of the road and we're not the bride in this case. The church is the bride. We're attached to the bride, the church, mother church. And the light is, yes, could be good.
It could be a couple of things. I was just thinking it could be in light of Matthew's gospel, the good works. So good works that would flow naturally out of a relationship with Jesus. And why am I saying this? I'm going to back this up with a little bit of scripture from Matthew's gospel. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus compares good deeds to the light of a lamp that must shine before others. That's in Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. And later on in the Gospel, he talks about people who call him Lord, but fail to do the will of the Father. And Jesus' ultimate response to them is, I never knew you. And this is in Matthew chapter 7, verse 23. And so if we compare these kind of phrases to what Jesus uses in this passage that we're talking about, you can see they're kind of similar. That's how you can come to the conclusion that the oil could be likened to the good works that flow from a relationship with Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think another analogy you could use, like similarly to this one, is that of a marathon runner, I guess, to kind of make a similar point. You know, when it comes to running, I don't do a lot of it. I don't enjoy. My max is like 3.5 kilometers, and that's about it.
That's really good. I can't run 3.5 kilometers.
Marathon is like what, 40?
21.
That's half. That's half marathon.
Oh,
so it's like 42 Ks. You can't just be me and just get off, up off your couch one day and say, I'm going to run 42 Ks today. Like, no, you're not. You're going to die, Justine. Like, don't be stupid. You don't just go from your couch and get up and do, the full run. You start small, and every day you do the little things. You build the little strengths. You make the little milestones that you reach every day to work up towards the big day, that marathon day that is your goal. That's the aim, and you do all that you can. You eat well, you train well, you stay committed, you stay disciplined, you stay on track to build up the skills and the habits that will really become really, really helpful when they're required most, which is on the day.
Today's episode is dropping on the feast day of Saints Peter and St. Paul. Now, St. Peter messed up pretty bad. You would not think that denying Jesus 3 times would land you the Pope gig. So let's look back one more time at the story of Peter. Our hosts are going to uncover how Jesus not only gave Peter mercy, but also gave him a calling and sent him out and gave him authority. So here's the last clip for the day. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's see what we can grab from it.
I like this concept at the end of this reading. It talks about Jesus had a charcoal fire ready. Mm-hmm. And where was the last place that we saw a charcoal fire in Scripture, in the Gospels? And it was where Peter was denying Jesus. It says that he's standing outside while Jesus is inside being judged. And it says he's standing warming himself by a charcoal fire. And so it's almost like Jesus is in some ways recreating the scene, like giving Peter a redo of like, hey, I know, I saw you by that fire. And there's even a moment where it says that Jesus, the rooster crowed and Jesus turned and he looked at Peter and then Peter cried. Like Jesus knew exactly what was happening in that time. And so then back into this moment in the gospel, and Peter is by another charcoal fire with Jesus. And then he's saying these 3 things. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And Peter's upset, right? He's like, you keep asking me this. But how many times did Peter deny Jesus? 3 times. And so I just love that there is so much opportunity here for redemption for Peter. Mm-hmm. And if I was him, and if I had failed the Lord, and if I had, I would be feeling like disqualified. I would be like, you know what? I am just going to go back to fishing for fish, even though Jesus told me I'm fishing for people. But maybe that's all I'm good for. But Jesus here, I think as well, is reminding him, no, I still choose you. I still call you. Your calling hasn't changed, even though you failed in some ways. But actually, I believe that you can still do this, and I'm still calling you, and I'm still choosing you. And I think for some of us, we need to hear Jesus say that to us. Like, yeah, you might have failed, but I still choose you. I still love you. I still want you. I forgive you, and I still believe in the call on your life. And so don't let the enemy make the final word of your story disqualification and failure, but actually, Jesus will always have redemption on offer for us.
Yes.
God's mercy will always mess up our sense of fairness, because at the end of the day, it's not about what we think is fair. It's about who God is. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Recap mini-series, looking at God's grace and, justice and fairness, and how the Bible just completely flips that on its head. How can we implement this week? How can we approach the altar a little bit differently, knowing that type of God is the God that we serve? So we'll see you in a couple weeks for another episode. If you want to follow us on socials or listen to more Outside the Chapel podcast, you can head to outsidethechapel.com. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.